as regards to Chile Training Academy and how I got into the trade, I used to deliver milk at a local company here at the age of 16. And what happened then was that I used to deliver milk, and a couple of my friends left school and they were going for an interview at this place. And they said, Paul, will you come along? And it happened to be Carter Refrigeration Display Limited. And I went for an interview as a sideline, really, in the sense that my two friends wanted to get the job and I didn't. I ended up asking all the questions, and they actually offered me a job in a Carter refrigeration. And that's how I fell into refrigeration air conditioning, by mistake, to be honest. That said, my journey has been quite good. And I've been fortunate because although I've been in the trade 46 years now, I've enjoyed every minute of it, in the sense that I started a Carter refrigeration display as a trainee. I set up my own training scheme within Carter's, and I went from like a trainee up to charge hands, then working on sites, working on supermarkets. And then what happened was that I actually wanted to leave the company in 84, 85 to go and do a HNC in refrigeration full time, because the company wouldn't actually sponsor that. So I'd handed in my notice and I said, right, I'm going to go to Nottingham in those days where they offer the HNC. I got myself booked onto it ever, and I was actually working a week's notice at Carter's to actually to go and set up full-time course there, attended. Then just out of the wilderness, a phone call arrived, and it was a college that I've taught at, Solihull College of Technology. They rang me up and said, look, Paul, we got an opening as a lecturer. Never even thought about it. Didn't even think about being a lecturer. And I had this phone call with my head of, the guy who taught me, Mr. Green, and he rang up and said, look, there's an opportunity. Will you come and have an interview? I'm thinking, totally out of the blue. I couldn't say no, because I was intrigued. Anyway, they marched me up to the principal's office then, Mr. Flint, no, Mr. Parkinson. And he actually said, look, Paul, we're not going to let you go out of this door unless you sign to say you're going to become a refrigeration lecturer for us, because we need you. Because one of the lecturers is leaving, Mr. Henson. And I said, well, I'm totally flabbergasted. Honoured, obviously, thought about it. And I'm thinking, why me, And Mr. Green, who's my tutor, said, Paul, when I did the exams, I wrote the script of the questions. He actually said, Paul, he was like reading his own notes back to him. Is that detailed? I've got that photography memory. I've been lucky with that. So here I was, started looking at doing a HNC. Within a week, got the offer of a job as a lecturer. So from charge hand to lecture almost within a week sort of thing. And I started at the college back in 85, 86. And so I started teaching there, learned how to teach refrigeration, air conditioning, went onto the tools more and more, and really enjoyed it, So I spent 14, 15 years at the college teaching, and then I actually became head of refrigeration at the college. And thereafter, I felt I got as far as I had got, and I decided to leave and set up what was then Motor Climate Training Academy. Then I set that up, but somebody approached me and said, look, there's an opening here at York International, for example, a training manager role there. I went there. Then Beth, Building Engineering Services Training, approached me and said, will you come and do some assessments for us? And I thought, yeah, great, I will. But back in 2003, I actually said, right, I'm going to do my own thing. I want to become independent, self-employed, all the bits and pieces. And I still remember it now, Evan. I was down at Arctic Circle in Hereford, and the FD, financial director there, Debbie, really, really good. We set up an NVQ scheme in company forum, I did, with their support. And she said, yeah, go for it, Paul, why don't you? And I did. So here I am now doing Chile Training Academy. That's all I do. I run that. But I've got, I'm chairman of the local refrigeration society, BSRA. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Refrigeration. I'm on the board of trustees of the IRY, Institute of Refrigeration. So I would say how I got into it was by mistake. That said, I've been very, very lucky to actually see where I am, and it's not finished yet. Yeah, I've still got a lot of things that I want to achieve ever. thoroughly enjoy it. And I'll still say now, even this day, that it's a hobby that I thoroughly enjoy, and teaching is what I love. The rest of the periphery, the communication, network, that I totally enjoy them as well. LinkedIn and stuff like that. Thoroughly, I'm very proactive on that. And the satisfaction I get is imparting knowledge to somebody. To see an engineer, whether they're male or female, starting, say, day one, within a week, we've done a lot with them, and they're actually conversing refrigeration and air conditioning. So does that answer your question in a way?
Yeah, you've answered it very thoroughly, actually. It was a very good response.
That's right. I mean, the thing I found was that after working in a college for 14, 15 years, I realised how much bureaucracy was. People wanted to get trained, and I had to jump through hoops, funding, all this stuff, and to get decisions made is very, very difficult. So I thought the way I can actually help our clients now is by setting up my own business. And for example, I can act very, very quickly, respond to requests, inquiries. I'm almost 24/7 in the sense that if somebody rings me on a Sunday, I'll answer the phone, I'll answer the text, I'll send an email out. I'm on LinkedIn. So it's that flexibility that I wanted to offer the business, offer the industry. And even like, I'll give you an example, even today, like somebody rang me up on a Thursday company who I'd recommended to by another client of mine. They rang me up and they said, right, we've got X, Y, and Z. And this was actually sitting on F-gas qualification, the mandatory qualification. And I was speaking to the company on Thursday, and Monday he was here doing it now. So you would never get that response at a college.
Yeah, of course.
And it's actually that bit that I want to meet the requirements or exceed the requirements of our clients and the industry, and be proactive and teach them well. That's and the motivating factor. It's not money's not the motivating factor. What is the motivating factor, or motivating factor, is that I can actually be independent. I can actually work like weekends if need be, evenings, Saturday, we do Saturday morning courses. Very many. I don't think any colleges actually do that. And the other niche that we have is we actually do it in small groups. For example, our seating plan only accommodates for 6 people. That's it, no more than that. Whereas I've recently started teaching at a college to get them out of trouble, and they got 14, 15 students, 20 students, which I contend with a technician. That said, in my own training establishment, our ratio is 1 to 3. One lecturer to 3 candidates, and our pass rate because of that is 100%. In the sense that we'll nurture them, we'll support them, we'll give them the tuition, give them the tools. They sit the assessments, and these are sitting all assessments external online. And if I'm not saying they pass first time ever. I wouldn't say that. What I'm saying is that if they do fail, then we're there to support them, pick them up, give them the coaching they need. Sometimes confidence building, and they can re-enter the assessment and pass. It's a numbers game. I mean, for example, colleges, they have, with respect, bums on seats. They want to get 20 candidates through, 20 candidates. For us, it's about imparting knowledge. I want all my clients to sing our praises and recommend us to their colleagues, their friends, and that's what that's what our business is built on. Is on recommendations, personal recommendations. We don't actually advertise anyway. Okay, I do it on LinkedIn because, again, that's promoting what we do on a week-to-week basis with our candidates. The uniqueness is flexibility, small numbers, personal, one-to-one tuition. We do one-to-one tuition as well. And I'm really glad that we're recognised for awards. I mean, we recently had the ACNI Journal National Heat Pump Awards, and we were finalists in that.
Oh, wow.
Also, the other thing is that I'm very much into rewarding students, and the industry sets up the RACP in the National Student of the Year Award. That was set up about 32 years ago, for example. And what they do is they have top 10 students, the top 10 then get narrowed down to top 3. And I would say ever since they started it 30 plus years ago, we've entered students every year, and every year we've had top 10 students, and sometimes we've had like bronze, gold, silver, and that I don't think any training centre can actually claim that, and that's really down to knowing that we're doing a good job.
Oh, perfect.
There's 2 awards. We've got the National Air Conditioning Heat Pump Awards, NACRA call it, and that's done by ACR Journal, Water Group.
ACR Journal.
And that was the one that we had recently, training and also the students as well. There is the RAC National and RAC and IOR National Student of the Year Awards. They're due in September, and that's run by the RAC Journal, which is a different organisation. I also entered students in for the ACR News Trainee of the Year Awards. Okay, and this year we put in 3 candidates, and all 3 of them reached the top 5, and one of my lads actually won it, which is really, really good. And that's the satisfaction I get is actually rewarding, recognising. So just summarising, we got the RAC Cooling Industry Awards, where they have the RAC and IOR National Student of the Year competition. Yeah. Then we got the NACRA, they call it, and that's the National Air Conditioning Heat Pump Awards, which is the ACR Journal. And then they have the ACR News Awards, which is by ACR News magazine.
Right, so, perfect.
Okay, I would say the first and important comment to make is that it's a trade that you can take anywhere in the world. Yeah, refrigeration, air conditioning. You can go to India, you can go to Canada, you can stay here, and it's required. So it's a global trade. Okay, and also there's a shortage of refrigeration engineers globally as well. And why youngsters should pursue it is because not only do they learn things like the maths, the English, the hands-on bit, there's electronics, there's computer. It's so diverse. Communication. So whereas, for example, say an electrician, all they'll be doing is just doing the electrical cables and stuff like that. We do electricity, piping, software, and it's you can actually a youngster can actually end up wherever they want to be. The industry will actually allow that or facilitate that pathway. The advantage of doing an apprenticeship is obviously they're working in a real environment. They're dealing with real life systems out in the workplace, and also they're generating income for themselves. And they're getting paid what on the apprenticeship, they're getting paid for that as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, first of all, as regards there's a global shortage of refrigeration, air conditioning engineers and engineers per se, globally. Yeah, that's because the youngsters are being attracted more into different areas of the industry, areas of commerce and electronics, computing. I think what we need to do as an industry, we are beginning to now get more out in front, promote it. I mean, we've got a situation, we got through the IR, we're doing a STEM process where our STEM ambassadors are actually going into schools and promoting science, all that lot, into schools at an early age, so the youngsters can actually see, this is a trade for them, and we're picking up on that. And that's really global, that is. As regards to trainers, there's always been a shortage of trainers in refrigeration air conditioning, particularly all over. But here, I've been in the trade 46 years now, and there's no pathway to actually become a trainer. What normally happens is that I was lucky. I think I got poached, for want of a better word, at a young age. I mean, I'm proud to say that I was probably the youngest trainer in the UK at the age of 25. I became a trainer at the age of 25, and I've been lucky with that. But I think what the challenge is actually getting someone from a young age and saying, right, okay. And at the moment, we haven't got this pathway, this career towards becoming a trainer. We got a pathway to become an engineer, or the service installation commissioning, but we haven't got a pathway to say, oh, refrigeration, I want to be a refrigeration lecturer. And what I'm doing at the moment at Chile Training Academy, from day one almost, is my ethos is, if you want to learn something, try and teach it. So I'll get some students in day one, day two. I'll explain to them how the basic refrigeration cycle is. I'll get them to actually go onto the flip chart or the whiteboards and actually explain it, because that allows them the confidence to impart knowledge. And I'm doing that, I would say, at all levels of training that I do. The success has been that I've had a lot of people who've been training through us, and they want to come back and teach. So I think I've actually accumulated about four lecturers over time to come into teaching and support what Chile Training do. And that's purely because we allow them to, it's not rocket science, get them involved. They enjoy it. I want them to enjoy it. And we only have 3 do's at our centre. And that's, we want it. And it goes, in fact, there's 3 do's and 3 don'ts. The 3 do's are relax, participate, enjoy. That's it. Because if they can relax and participate, they'll enjoy it. Even someone coming for an exam or an assessment, they say, Paul, yeah, we actually enjoy that. And on the practical side or the negative side, I say, look, don't injure yourself, don't injure the environment, and don't injure the equipment, or don't damage the equipment, and that's it. And I live by that.
Oh, seems very effective and simple, and they're really nice things to say to, especially young people who are doing training. I think that's very reassuring.
Mm-hmm. I'll kickstart that by really saying that the Institute of Refrigeration, as an organisation, is very much into that sustainability, and they have webinars that engineers deliver. Students, trainees can actually get involved in, listen to, participate. And the whole industry is very much into sustainability, because I would say our living, our blood is actually based on being sustainable for the future. We're looking at things like climate change, environmental issues, health and safety, systems, refrigerants, and as an industry, although we seem to be the hidden giants, or the unseen giant is an old video that we made quite some time back. It's we're promoting ourselves more and more. I mean, there's things like heat pumps now, and there's been programs, some bad ones, on TV about heat pumps. And from day one, at all the training colleges, the training centres, we're very much into doing that. And how the youngsters actually contribute towards that is by participating in webinars, being part of the IORC's engineer section, and the companies themselves are very into that, and setting up groups. I mean, I as the BSR chairman, Birmingham Society of Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, we're just an organisation. But that said, previously we held webinars on refrigerants and what they do to the atmosphere, and getting speakers in to talk about sustainability. And it's not just a UK thing, it's global. And I've actually had the pleasure of going to India from my own company, and I'm trying to establish training centres out there so they can actually get the British style of training, systems, hardware, knowledge, and taking, eventually I want to take English experts to India, although India's got their own. And the other one is that as regards sustainability and stuff like that, there's World Refrigeration Day, which Steve Gill set up quite some time back, and that celebrates refrigeration, or the world of refrigeration, and that's on the 26th of June, and that is a global thing. And I was talking to Steve the other day about it, and different companies, different organisations will celebrate on the 26th of June, all that week and throughout, refrigeration. And he was saying that they've got a website, World Refrigeration Day, Okay, and that actually has something like 300,000 people looking at it. Yes.
Wow.
So we're very, I would say our industry thrives on challenges. In fact, innovative ways of meeting challenges and ensuring that the future engineer is equipped with what's to come tomorrow. And that's through proper training, education, webinars, access to the wide range of information that is out there, freely available.
Yeah.
The most important bit is that we as trainers are trying to deliver what the industry wants. So the industry collaborates with the training providers to say, right, this is our apprenticeship, this is how we want it run, because this is what we need. And the trainers will actually join together in groups and say, right, this is the best fit. So we'll have panels, meeting groups where industry and trainers get together and devise programs for the future. I'll give you a good example of collaboration. Is recently we just at the installer show we had the skill fridge or the UK skills competition of apprentices, and what happens there is that the colleges, okay, the apprentices are employees of companies. They'll have regional finals, and then the finalists are actually invited to a competition at the NEC was, and the industry will actually give the equipment, the personnel, to actually, so the industry is supporting training by giving them the equipment, the consumables, the materials. Okay, I think we need to work on the NEC to try and get a better price for the stands that we use. And one thing I really did notice whilst I was there, Eva, is that, we wanted some, I wasn't a judge, but I was just there as an observer, and they'd run out of some I forget, it was some fixing or something, and the head judge Mark Forsyth, he said, "I've just run out," and because there was an exhibition there, he just went across to the stands and said, "Look, can I have this?" And they said, "No problem at all, just take it." And that for me is industry collaborating with training, and training collaborating with industry, working in partnership for the better of the future. Because these finalists are the future today.
Yeah.
And so that is it. Participation. For example, I'm quite cheeky actually. I'll be honest. I've always been cheeky. And my motto is, if you don't ask, you don't get. So, I mean, I was reading a post on LinkedIn, and somebody's actually got a controller, well, it's a Danfoss controller, but somebody that donated to his college. They put a great, nice picture up there, blah, blah, blah. I know the college as well. And I wrote on LinkedIn, because I knew who the supplier was. I said, I feel really jealous because Sean's got this. What are the chances of me having a controller? And Lizzie Dunlop from Danfoss, she actually responded to my LinkedIn. She said, "Look, Paul, no problem at all." And within a week, she actually sent me one. And I've actually put on LinkedIn, and she said a really nice comment about, hope this, happy World Refrigeration Week. Hope this controller can be used to train the future engineers. And I thought that was really nice. I put that on LinkedIn, and that's what.
Oh, that is very nice.
And that was really touching. And I've had something like 2,300 people look at that LinkedIn post. So I think I like to think that I can support the industry by being a catalyst. Training, industry, not the man in the middle, but and really get involved and get them to actually get involved as well.
It sounds like an industry where there is really room for everyone to succeed and to have support and to be good at the trade. So yeah, it sounds really fantastic, actually.
The industry is so passionate. I've enjoyed it from as a youngster, as a trainee, so to speak, and I've seen its I've seen it from an engineer's point of view. I've seen it from the lecturer's point of view, now from a training consultant point of view, and I'm seeing it as a board of trustees. And it is like a family, really like a family. And everyone I meet with, discuss with, chat with, I think I've got reference in my blood. I really do, because I just love it, really do. And I mean, what is really frightening now, in a good sense, is that I actually taught some people a long time back, and those people now, they're actually sending their sons and daughters for me for training. How bad is that? Oh. Which is nice, really, upon recommendation. And I've actually got one. I've got a grandfather, the father, and the son, where all three of them I've actually nurtured through the industry, which is really, really good.
Oh, that's amazing. That's very good.
That's what I love. I mean, you wouldn't get that anywhere in any job, I don't think. Well, I know
definitely.
And I mean, yeah, it really is. And our recent success story is that on World Refrigeration Day, 26th of June, I had a young lad who'd just left school, 16 years. He actually started into the industry. He had his first training day with me on World Refrigeration Day, James Musselwhite. And he's employed by MM Refrigeration, which is his dad's company. But I've taught his dad. I've taught his uncle. And they sent their daughter to me, Mark. They sent his daughter Heidi Musselwhite. And then, so I've done training for her. Then I've even got the mother. It's like a family. I've actually taught like a family. And that really is, for me, in a nutshell, because you got young, old, male, female, and to actually get that, get them into the industry is what makes it click. It does.
Oh, that sounds really amazing.
Okay, I think they need to have a passion for something, first of all. And that passion, it could be, I like maths, I like English, I like working with my hands, I like drawing, any passion that we can actually build on. Because this industry doesn't, although the qualifications say, yeah, you need to have level 2 in maths, this, that, and the other, or GCSE. Yeah, okay, you need that. That said, there are people who've come out with no qualifications, got into the industry, and they've actually excelled without any qualifications. So there's no requirement to actually, there's no set requirements apart from having a passion and the will to do it. Okay, for example, maths, I love maths. I really do. For example, if you're looking at even a fridge, just measuring the volume of the fridge or the area of the door, maths comes into it. I'm going to get this fridge through this doorway, will it fit? So it's a simple thing like that. So they're actually applying the maths from day one, calculating, areas, calculating lengths of pipe. So there's also the simple maths, then there's the applied maths, which is looking at formulae, energy efficiency calculations, how much heat is being transferred into something. I mean, one of the first things I ask anybody is, think about heat flow. Does heat transfer from hot to cold, or is it from cold to hot? And getting to think about that, because that has a quite interesting thought process. Okay, it only travels from hot to cold, always. But that gets the conversation going then. So I've had situations where I've had a young 16-year person ask them the same question, and they'll have a different answer or concept to somebody who's coming back to say for their, they're diverting from, say, heating engineer into refrigeration, and they'll have a different concept. But it's really, whatever they know, whatever the maths, English, it's applied. Particularly in the apprenticeship now, it's very much towards the endpoint assessments, level 3, and there's maths in that. Part of the assessment is it's an independent assessment, so it's on an independent piece of kit. They haven't seen it before. It's actually assessed by an independent endpoint assessor, so they don't know the assessor at all. So they will send them in from somewhere else, and they've got a system that they've got to run up. Okay, that's technical, but the math side of it, they've got to actually get it running, take readings, and then do the calculations on technical graphs So that's the applied maths side of it. And they've got to be able to say negative temperatures. I find that quite interesting. Negative temperatures in the sense that, you know, can they add up negative temperatures? Can they take them away? And it, you know, it's quite easy to get mistaken. I mean, I've had it recently. You know, -18 is it? You know, if you want to absorb heat out of -18, is it something hotter or something colder? Yeah, and getting to think about that. Really, the concept for me is we talk about superheat, okay? And I mean, your notion of superheat is something that's very, very hot. But what we try and do, and what we have to get our head around, is that we could have something that is -100, which is really, really cold, and we could have something that's, say, -95, and that was superheated. You think, gosh, -95, and it's superheated, and it's getting that concept through in the brains, and getting to realise negative temperatures and also pressure temperature relationships. I've just done a video candid shot. I was teaching on Saturday, and I was doing some calculations on my whiteboard. Just had some students and two lads in, and three in fact, and I was just talking about pressure, volume, and temperature relationship. I put that onto the whiteboard, got them discussing it, and I actually made a video out of it to show, to share with people on LinkedIn. And I think I've had a lot of positive feedback on that. So we can manipulate what their passion is and grow that, and whatever the weaknesses are, we will nurture them to actually get to grips with them, so they understand them.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, my belief is anybody can do anything if they want to, given the right support.
That's amazing. That's an amazing quote.
I think if we go back 3 years ago, COVID, that really hit home in a positive sense, the role of the fridge engineer, because whilst everyone was just locked down, not being able to get out because of circumstances, the refrigeration engineer, they were still out there because that's an essential trade. And if you're in an essential trade environment, then that job is never going to go away. So that's it really. It's something that's there. We can live without cars. Yeah. We can't breathe without good quality air. And if you look at air conditioning, then that's what that's providing. The air conditioning cycle is providing indoor air quality, and there's so many things that COVID has actually made. Even the youngsters that were on TV, oh, I need to get into this. I want to get into this, and they're excited by it. I mean, this is ironic. This is personal in the sense that I started in the industry in '77 on the 4th of July, and my young lad now is 15, and believe you, I mean, he actually had the work experience week from 3rd to the 7th of July, and we got him work experience at an air conditioning company, Oasis Air Conditioning in the Midlands, and I started in industry 46 years ago, and here's my young lad 15, who's also in air conditioning, okay, albeit on a work experience, doing the trade. Couldn't believe it. How could you do that? That is just so amazing. So very cool. And literally a lot. And cool is it?
Yeah,
it is cool. Yeah. So does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Basically, what we're saying there is that the industry needs engineers. Okay. We need engineers who can actually move forward with environmental solutions. We've got enough environmental issues. It's a solution that we want. And different youngsters of today, I mean, they've got their skill set, their knowledge set, their upbringing, their way of life is totally different to what I used to be. And having that concept and that experience at a very young age can be nurtured to actually get them into the industry and then get them to actually communicate. I mean, I can't communicate. A lot of the trainers now are probably in their 40s, 50s. We haven't got many 30-year-olds, I must admit, yet. And it's actually having the youngsters of today who can actually get into the trade and get them into the trade so that they can pass the knowledge to future generations. Environmentally, I mean, even the youngsters of today, they're looking at the environment now and saying, well, global warming, energy efficiency. I mean, you've got to, how often do you turn the bulb off? Electricity, because it's so costly now. The energy scenario, environment, stuff like that. So how we actually we are supporting youngsters to come into the trade by working with the schools at a young age. So trying to promote more of the industry to them. And then as regards the environment, I think there's enough information out on the news, in magazine, on youngsters' blogs, Facebook and all that lot about the environment to actually get them to say, yeah, I need to be aware of this, otherwise my future is not going to be my future.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really about, I think, is getting the youngsters to be aware of what the environment is about, and they are more and more, and then saying, right, there are RACHP, refrigerated air conditioning heat pumps, is the industry for you because it's so diverse. If you got any ambition that you want to make a difference to the world, then refrigeration air conditioning is it. That's it.
Perfect.
I mean, the whole, the apprentices have got government backing. They're funded by the government. They've got the backing of the industry. The Institute of Apprenticeships. They've got their own interest in it. So there's a big push for apprenticeships. And the beauty of apprenticeships is you're earning while you're learning. Yeah, earn whilst you learn, because obviously they're getting a salary, and they're actually working, say, 4 days a week, going to a training establishment for 1 day a week, and it's giving them the best of both worlds. So apprenticeships are the way to go, definitely, because it's actually picking up pupils at young ages, particularly T levels now. The way that they're being promoted, some like 14, 15-year-olds can actually access work experience to get onto a T-level qualification, and that's again saying, look, okay, we normally take on 16-year-olds, but we want to get into schools to actually get T-levels on board and get them into the industry. Apprenticeships, and in the old days, they used to be safe for 16 to 18-year-olds or 16 to 21-year-olds. I'm finding now that if you look at the eligibility bits and pieces, the apprenticeships aren't just 16-year-olds; they can be 25-year-olds, mature apprenticeships, so to speak. So
yeah, it's definitely worth for people who maybe have had prior careers and want to retrain to something more worthwhile, more important than what they were doing before, I imagine.
What I am finding now is that diversity, people or skilled people who say they're gas engineers, they're plumbers, they're electricians, they're building service engineers. They want to get into refrigeration and air conditioning because they can see the environmental issues, the heat pump side of it. So it's getting more, I would say, we're attracting a lot more people who are skilled, who want to get into the industry, and we're looking at a way of actually doing a career path for them, saying, right, if you want to get into the industry, you're a heating engineer, the IR is looking at the Institute of Refrigeration, saying, yeah, you do this, then you do that, then you do that, and then you're in the trade, qualified. And that's one way of actually hitting the shortage elements. Because there's a shortage and multidiscipline. That's the way to go. The advice I would give to them would be, say, let us being Chiller Training, the IOR, make contact with a local company who will talk to you and offer you, say, a day work experience, just to see that you can actually see what it's like. Yeah, get that way, get them into that way. I think once they've actually seen how good it is, then they can make an informed decision.
Yeah, perfect.
And one thing I have noticed is that there's a weakness in careers teachers or school teachers who give advice on careers. They don't know about refrigeration and air conditioning sufficiently. So we're actually making a pact now and saying, right, we're going to make sure that the schools hear about refrigeration and air conditioning. Even, I mean, I go to our local Gurdwara, the temple, and because there's a congregation there, and I'll speak, look, Paul, what do you do? Well, I'm a refrigeration trainer. Oh, what's that? And I'm selling refrigeration air conditioning to the youngsters to get them in, I'm not forcing upon them. I'm just telling them or indicating to them this is what might, this is what this entails. They don't know. If the school teachers, careers advisors don't know what it entails, then how are they going to find out? I think I read somewhere on LinkedIn, and a close friend of mine, he's a refrigeration trainer, and he's a young lad, went into school, and he said, oh, I want to become a refrigeration engineer. And his careers teacher, whoever that was, I said, oh, you don't want to get into that, it's filthy. And his dad went to the school and said, look, you cannot say that about this industry because you don't know it. And they don't. So it's very much about educating the people.
Yeah, making it known that it's an option, and it's a long-term sustainable option for a career that's quite good for the environment and for the people.
It is. If you're a fridge engineer, let me rephrase that. If you're a good refrigeration engineer, then you will never be out of work. And if you're a good refrigeration trainer, you'll never be out of work.
Very true.
No, there isn't. It's in the throes of being developed as we speak, in the sense that I've got my contacts in India working on it, and and you want to go to Google Paul Singh refrigeration on LinkedIn or Facebook, or Google Chill Out Training Academy on Facebook, and I'll pop up anyway. So I prefer. I mean, when people are looking at websites, great as an introduction. I'd rather for them to pick up the phone and talk to me. And I think I've been lucky here in the sense that because I've not needed a website, I don't need one, I'm developing one now, just like a platform. All my business is done by word of mouth or on LinkedIn. And dare I say, the Paul Singh brand is, the industry knows Paul Singh. They don't know Chill Out Training Academy that well, but they know I'm it. So they know that if they're talking to me, they're going to get the right deal. They could be working on a Sunday, for example. Love it. Okay, with the apprenticeship as it is, it's actually a 3-year process. Okay,
right.
They sign up for a level 3 program, which is the engineering, refrigeration, air conditioning standard, the ST00 0322, and they sign up for 3 years. They attend a training establishment, okay, and they'll be on program for 3 years doing. There's a mandatory F-gas qualification, the System Rules 279, category 1 to 4. They have to get that mandatory. They also have to have Maths and English at level 2 to do that, and then they're taught subjects both theoretical and practical to enable them to actually get up to the right skill level, the right knowledge level, and to aid them into that, they get there's an apprentice development journal that they have to work on, which is actually, they've got 7 tasks in that, and they've got to cover those tasks on jobs. Things like carrying out maintenance on an air conditioning unit. So they've got practical tasks which are prescribed, which they have to write about, get authenticated, endorsed by their employer to make sure, to confirm that they've done it properly, and then they get the gateway. Okay. Now, once they get the gateway, might be 3 years away. So we've got apprenticeships now, or apprentices on year 2, year 3 of their programs, and we're nurturing them with level 2 qualification and level 3 qualification as add-ons. And once they've got the F-gas qualification, once they've reached the Maths and English, and once they've got the journal entries done, and the employer, the apprentice themselves, and also the training provider feel that they're ready for the endpoint assessment, that's the end game. The endpoint assessment is in three parts. We've actually got there's a multi-choice synoptic end test, which is multi-choice, so they've got to pass that. Then there's, particularly for the RACHP apprenticeship, there's a practical task, and it's done over 2.5 to 3 days. They've got a retrofit to do, which is changing. Again, this is assessing. They've got a refrigerant that is not as good for the environment. They've got to take that out, do some modifications to the equipment, and then they've got to put a new refrigerant in, which is better for the environment, and then run that up, commission it, take the logs, do all the calculations, in addition to actually doing fault finding as well. So there's fault finding and rectification. So you've got the theory test online, you've got the practical assessments at an independent venue, and then also you've got a professional interview, professional discussion, where the endpoint assessor, the independent endpoint assessor, will actually sit down with the apprentice and talk about the 3 jobs that they have to submit 3 jobs to cover the 7 tasks, and they've got to get a pass in all 3 to qualify.
Right.
And that is a 3-year process from start to finish, and once they get that, they pass the assessment, then they get the qualification. Okay, for example, I mean, as we speak now, I'm working with a college, and they've had people on full-time courses. They've done the level 2 diploma, which can be done in-house. So they've done the skill, they've done the knowledge, they've passed all bits and pieces. Now what I'm doing is I've got a lot of contact in industry, and unfortunately in that sense, they'll ring me and say, Paul, look, have you got any engineers who are looking for jobs? And I can actually, upon recommendation, I can actually put them out to the industry. In fact, I sent someone's CV yesterday morning to a company. He's got his level, he's done his diploma at the college, he's looking for work. I've got an employer who wants someone, who's looking to take on somebody, and I'll pass their CV on. So it's very much about linking trainees who are unemployed, looking for work, with people, companies and there's a shortage. There's a shortage. So, and I have to be honest, we look at the selection. Are they good? They pass the test. Are they keen? Are they time? Look at all the attributes. Can they drive, for example? I'm not saying that would dissuade the company, but they've got certain things that they want the engineer to be able to do and fulfill. And then I'm looking at that and saying, yeah, this engineer is a good fit for that. And obviously you've got air conditioning, you've got refrigeration, you've got industrial refrigeration, commercial, transport. There's a whole array of things. And people say, well, Paul, I actually want to just stay with installation. I don't want to do service work. And I say, well, this company's quite good. And then it's really like, well, it's almost like being a marriage broker in that sense, trying to find the apprentice potential to link up with a company so they can actually. And I always say to them, look, this lad's worth an interview, but it's down to the company. At the end of the day, I can make, I'll make the recommendation, and it's certainly down to the company to say, yeah, that's fine. If you got a passion and nurture that passion, okay. The industry is that diverse that if you want to get into the industry and you're not sure, we'll make ways of you actually, having a taster days to get involved. And we are going out to individuals, to schools, and actually communicating and really sending the message out. Communicating, informing to give them the benefits. And the benefits really are that no matter what field of the RACHP industry you get into, you will be making a difference to the future lives of the planet and the people therein. There's domestic refrigeration, there's industrial refrigeration, commercial refrigeration, transport refrigeration, then there's air conditioning, there's heat pumps, there's air source heat pumps, ground source heat pumps, a whole variety. If you want to get into the industry, you don't necessarily have to work on the tools. You go into the office site the designing, the calculations, looking at things that to my software, electronics come into it. So it's a field that will actually nurture whatever you're interested in, what your interest is. So if you're interested in computing electronics, the industry is that diverse that we want engineers to be able to program software, design software, install it, commission it, test it. I mean, in the old days, we used to have an engineer with a set of gauges. Now it's more of a laptop with the iPad, mobile phone, headphones, and it's moving. And we're looking at things like apps for this, apps for that. I mean, it's really come a long way. It really has. I would say it's an industry for today, for the future. And we have the industry awards and like the Cooling Industry Awards, the ACR News Awards, and that is recognising, best refrigeration system, best project, highlighting it, and that's great to actually showcase how the industry is actually meeting the challenges of tomorrow, today. And that's really, really, it's great for the industry, great for the future.
It sounds fantastic. So no matter what your skill set is, no matter if you're a maths person or...
When you sign you up to get into the industry.
It sounds really great. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So whatever your skill, as long as you're passionate and you want to make a difference, you can do it in such a wide number of ways that really there's a place for you in the sector, no matter what you want. And
it's not about qualifications. You can have no qualifications. As long as you've got the will to learn, then, we can get you into it. I've got friends who are dyslexic, come out of school with nothing at all, and yet they're directors of their own companies. They're on the board of trustees of the IOR, for example, and really making it, because they've gone through the experiences, they're supporting the industry of how to overcome those barriers, because they were not now. They used to be barriers to getting into the industry historically, but now we're nurturing them to facilitate that.
That's really great. That's amazing. Thank you for giving me all this knowledge. I'll definitely use a lot of this. It's been very insightful and really enjoyable listening.